Vagrant Auto.
Auto's 1,000 pack opening
hang on,
stream.
you guys are
Oh,
Hey, how much would that cost?
It was very stimulating. Not yet. Quite stimulating, wouldn't you say? Come in, Alexander. No, no, no. Not yet. Alexander. Not yet. Quite stimulating, wouldn't you say? It was very stimulating. Not yet. Alexander. No, no, no. Alexander. It was very stimulating. Quite stimulating, wouldn't you say? Not yet. Alexander. Not yet. Not yet. It was very stimulating. Not yet. No.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Coming to you live in Technicolor from the beautiful Hollywood Hills, California. The show where the total retail price of their advice is $0. This is Timelines Talks. Featuring guest musical performers, Metallica frontman, oh my, it's Stars and Garters. Also featuring, hey buddy, you're a tier 9. Look out, it's Automaton 2000. And now, from Spreadsheet City, here's your host, Captain Idol.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Timelines Talks, the premium #1 show for all things Star Trek's timelines. I am joined, as always, by my fabulous co-host, Stars and Garters, Automaton 2000, and this week we are joined by a very special guest. We have #2 Faction award winner, DCPilot. Welcome to the show, gentlemen, and welcome to the show, DCPilot. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us. Long-time listener, first-time caller. What do I win?
I'm listening. Yes, welcome. I don't know if you've heard, gentlemen, but in fact, my milkshake does bring all the Borg to the yard. You just had to make that reference once. Where we'll be talking about this week. We'll be talking about Kelis, the 2000s, early 2000s pop sensation, Voyager guest star occasionally when she suits the mood. So this week we are going to be talking about the flashback crew, the flashback rewards. We'll be having a chat about Auto and Stars' Honor Suicide Pact. For those that have joined in on the forums, thank you very much. We will also have a quick chat about the Tuesdays and the LTOs, as we always do. But first off, a very big congratulations to the previous event winner for the skirmish event. That is 10F, my very own fleet, and apologies for getting this wrong, but Picus, P-K-U-S, Picus, I believe that's how you say it. Someone please correct me if I'm wrong. Congratulations for winning a skirmish. I want to bring up very quickly, if I can find it, a post breakdown of what they did. And they said, not much sleep over the weekend, pushed pretty hard on Thursday, strong place on Friday to get some situation feel for the event. A few chasers, he would have backed off and saved the crons for another event. Crashed for about 4 or 5 hours, but had a lot of time, had the tablet open, and then when he saw that there was a bit of a gap, he pushed even harder, got more of the VP, and I cannot imagine, like I said last week, and for anyone that wins an event, gets a #1 that isn't a faction event, that's a lot of tapping, that's a lot of work for a skirmish, and that's a lot of work for 5 of 5.
That's what happens.
Who was?
When you win a
Riker
skirmish.
Adan. Yes. But
Fabulous cast prizes.
Fabulous cash prizes, fabulous however much dilithium and your 7 premium pulls. Enjoy them, but no, congratulations to Picus. I think I know they've tried for a few top wins before, and I believe there's a few people in 10F that have got a few wins. Not to brag, but I'm bragging.
And a very short scroll down the leaderboard, you see in 27th place, former guest host and PAG opener Skycap with over
yes.
5.5 million VP.
Another big shout out to Skycap there. long-time listener, several times caller. And hopefully to have her back on the show in a few weeks. Another thing people might notice, yes, we've had another care package, so please claim that before they expire. You get a forage token, a few crons, a shuttle token, and a supply kit. So grab that.
Supply kits, I believe, actually.
Is it? It's actually a few, is it? Wow.
I think so, yeah.
God lords, I'm not short of those. I've got about 57 at the moment.
I was looking at my 75, and I was like, I'm going to burn through these.
Dear Lord. Okay. Shall we rotate very quickly to this week's crew? We have a flashback event on, and it's a faction event coming up. It's a repeat of The Enemy Within, which we saw, I believe it was about 6-7 months ago. Someone please correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, pretty recently.
It
Sounds
was
about right.
one of the more recent ones. Sort of reminds me of the Vice Admiral Janeway flashback. This one's a bit of an unusual one, as people remarked before, and there's been a fair amount of confusion about what are the actual rewards for it. Now, you will, from the previous event, Riker Redan is the reward, and we will have Kelis as Kelis, I believe it's Kelis, as the 5-star rank 1500 reward. Yes, you will be getting 1701 Bashir through the threshold rewards. You will be getting Holonovel Doctor as part of the rank rewards. You will not be getting Mycelial Culber as part of the rewards. Mycelial Culber is only in the packs, and this was the same last time this happened, which is very strange. It was a very strange occurrence.
Yeah, no, this is one of the more strange packs. I was actually kind of thinking, have they actually done anything quite like this? And the only one that comes immediately to mind was I think it was a rerun skirmish that gave us Science Officer Spock. Because it was him, Grand Nagus Rom, and I believe 2 purples. And that's the only other time I could think of a pack structured quite like this. But correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, I think up until the end, they're scrambling to add another crew to the pack. They thought, how about a 6-pack crew that was recently only available, new, and how can we piss off the whales? I know, we'll pick Culber. And so they put him in the pack. The rest is history.
He's
No, if you want to
quite
piss
good, though.
off, if you want to piss off whales, you put Nectar Skynet in a campaign. That's what really sets it.
My purples!
Speaking of events, while we've got DCPilot here, thanks for joining us. Do you want to talk a little bit, because as we've infamously mentioned every time you've been on the show, and every time you've been in the chat, and every time we mention your name, you have in fact scored the rank number 2 in a faction event. Obviously, everyone knows rank number 1 requires a fair amount of money, but I don't know if you wanted to talk a little bit about how that was for you and how you sort of came upon ranking that high. Was that something you planned for, or something that just kind of happened when you started the event?
Sure. So it was definitely something I planned for, in the sense that I knew I wanted to make a big faction push. I didn't have my sights on number 2 in particular. I knew I wanted multiple copies of the gold. I knew that 1 was just going to be out of reach, as it always is since I've been playing the game. But anything between 2 and 25, frankly, I would have been happy with that. And before I even get into the strategy of how many shuttles I sent and who I put on them, really picking the right event to push, I think, was as important as anything else. I knew that to do well without burning all of my resources or spending a ton of money, there would have to be a non-mega faction. And then in particular, just so everyone knows, the one that I made my big push in and I got number 2 was the one where we won Burn Mom, as you so aptly dubbed her idol, Gabrielle Burnham, Michael Burnham's mother. And she was, a 2-skiller, not likely to get many events. She happened to be the reward in a non-mega faction that was a rerun of the skirmish someone just mentioned, where we got Vice Admiral Jane. The skirmish gave us Vice Admiral Janeway leading into the flashback of the faction event. That's how those work.
And you can see why people get confused, can't you?
Flashbacks
Yes.
into reruns, into megas.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was a repeat event, and it was specifically a flashback. So it was a relatively recent one. It was earlier this year, and the first run was late last year. So we had a flashback, which is a kind of repeat event. We had a meh gold. It was not in a mega. So I said, this looks like where I'm going to take my shot. And then from there, I would say the most important thing that I did is spend a tiny little bit of dilithium right out the gate. Anyone who's never done a kickstart or a quick start, read up on it. If you do those successfully, those will put you off at 3,500 VP in your average faction, which is 3 factions with 8 shuttles each, and you want to get to the maximum of 4,000 VP as quickly as possible. So I think the most important thing I did that entire faction event was, as soon as I finished my kickstart, my shuttles were at 3,500 VP. I spent, I think it was 150 dill. It's 50 dill each for 3 shuttles with 5-star timers. That makes the 3-hour shuttle into a 30-minute shuttle. It's only 50 dill to complete that, and if you're going to rank highly, you get more dill than that back from the threshold. I think I got 400 dill out of the threshold, which means nothing to write home about. It's a recap, but that was it. I was net positive on that event. I sped up one other shuttle. I think I spent 222 dill the whole time and ranked second. So I don't want to ramble all day. That was how I picked the event, and that was how I got it started. Do you all have questions, or do you want me to talk about how many shuttles I ran or anything else, or has everybody fallen asleep?
So you basically shamelessly bought your position by paying dilithium instead of doing it the honorable way, freely. That's what you're admitting to here.
Basically, yes. But that investment paid off in spades. It got me, so every subsequent wave for the whole weekend was 4,000 VP. Obviously, to rank, second or even anywhere in the top 25, you need to be running more than your base 4 shuttles. You're into it for a lot of tokens. I'm sure people have different strategies of how many they're going to run at once. My 4 core shuttles, I was doing the best I could with those. As far as what was on the tokens, I was running those with either the 9-hour boosts or 2x. I bought into the theory that if you're running, timers that make your shuttles go faster, if you're running those on your requisition shuttles, you're just burning tokens at a faster rate than you need to. So I would run the speed up timers on my core shuttles. I would run the 2x or the 9-hour boosts on my requisition shuttles. And I have to say, some people criticize this game for not having a lot of strategy. Mapping out shuttle seats is actually quite strategic. It's one of my favorite parts of the game.
I was just frantically trying to find that image you sent me, which we actually put on the show back when you won the event. Was that little piece of notepaper that you sent me with your thing? I was just trying to find. I was like, shit, why didn't I have this ready? But no, that was really impressive.
I had great fun figuring out, who was going to give me the best percentage overall. I couldn't max one shuttle to 99% because I had a lot of other shuttles to worry about. I was running, I don't think I ran fewer than 9 at a time for most of the event. The last night I sent, all of them, to 24. That's as many as you can run. So it was good fun. I really enjoyed figuring out the seating and trying to strategize on it. So I'd highly recommend everybody, take your shot. You got to save up unless you're a really big spender. It's not something you can do every week or even every month. But I think, Otto, you yourself have said, everybody should take their shot at least once. And, even if you don't want to place one, even if you don't want to place one, it's a lot of fun to get up there on the leaderboard.
So how did that impact your sleep?
I am proud to say it did not really. I did not set any timers for overnight. I was running my life by timers during the day with shuttles at 30, 60, 90 minutes and 3 hours and 9 hours. I had a multi-timer app on my phone. But all said, the cumulative time, it really didn't take that much time. It was just I was a slave to the timers. If I missed a 90-minute turn, I was going to drop quite a bit. But the only time it affected my sleep at all was Monday morning. I did set my alarm a half hour earlier to allow for the final waves that I wanted to plan to send. But never woke up in the middle of the night, no alarms or anything like that.
Would your wife have allowed you to do so? Is the question.
Actually, thank you to Mrs. Pilot. That was I believe it was Mother's Day weekend.
Oh,
so I
talk about planning.
And we do have a kid, and I asked her in advance, and I cleared it. And that Sunday during the event, I actually changed my name next to my avatar in the game with a Happy Mother's Day message. So hopefully earn back some points there.
No, bless them.
So permit me to ask a slightly irreverent, if slightly bullet, like penetrating question. How did it feel to get number 2 on an event and earn your 4 out of 5 gold, and then see them get absolutely trashed in the big book?
And you know what? It was I didn't really have any particular feeling about it. I mean, I knew enough about the game at that point to know that she wasn't all that good or desirable, and like I said, that's part of the reason I went for that event.
Mm.
So, I didn't come out of it thinking she was going to be a tier 3 or something like that. I knew what she was. That was factored into the purchase price, and yeah, no surprise at all. It's
And
fine.
and have you cited her? Have you gone from 4 or 5 to 5 or 5? Have you done it for the?
I have.
You
I
have.
couldn't actually I did. I got her last star out of a pack, but yeah, this
Oh,
it's one of
okay.
those things. One of the reasons I had a hard time coming up with honor suicide candidates is that everybody who's not good that I would want to see used, everybody that I love, I mean, I don't love the character necessarily, but I love that I did well in her event. I had to have her at 5/5, and I did it. And I think I got her off of packs instead of citations. But yeah, the people I want to see and use for the most part, I do. And she was one of them. Having gotten 4 stars already, there was no way I was going to let her sit, one short of fully fused.
Now she been getting use? 5/5?
I mean, I won't say no. She doesn't do anything that that's anybody else couldn't do. I've got a bunch of strong engineering bases. The best I can say for her is during a faction event, when they're on the rare occasion there's an eng seat without anybody bonus that I have to fill. She can keep a better eng voyager voyaging while she rides that shuttle seat. So yes, she does get use, but she's not necessary at all.
Yeah, I think our good buddy Plain Simple Garrick had a similar strategy when he wanted to rank for an extra copy, and I think he ended up getting top 25-ish for his best finish. It was in a faction, and he picked a crew. I want to say Cadet Locarno, so another 2-skiller who wasn't outstanding, but he knew that would be his best shot at ranking when participation is low. So yeah, if you don't have the resources, the money, or the willingness to invest in a mobile game to that extent, your best bet is to probably pick a crew that won't get a lot of competition.
Yeah, and speaking of which, I mean, Kelis this weekend to win is much better than Burn Mom, but probably not a super desirable card. It is a repeat event. It's a better repeat event. There's 2 good golds who are event crew, but this faction event coming up this weekend might be a decent one coming off of a mega. Enthusiasm might be down. Might be a good time for somebody to make a run.
See, I knew there was a good reason I brought you on the show, because look at that first segue. That was professional. You've done like radio or something, I swear, because that was
Nailed
seamless.
I
It was
do
a
what I
pilot.
can.
I'd hope you'd have done radio.
Yeah. Speaking of Stellar Ice says from chat, very disappointed you're not actually streaming from a plane right now.
I'm telling you, airborne Wi-Fi is very expensive. I told her this. It's a sad fact of life.
What a shame. Okay, no, thank you for sharing that with us. Definitely interesting.
You're
If
welcome.
everyone has any questions, ping them across to DC. I'm sure you'd be happy to talk about what you did and sort of anyone that wants to sort of rank, and knowing that even if you
Certainly.
can get to number 2, because as we all know, faction events are to win you pay the dilithium, and it's nice to know that even with a little bit of dilithium that anyone can get, you can actually get to those top ranks.
You can get to the top ranks being net positive in dilithium, but I think
Exactly.
it would be hard to do spending literally 0. Just know
Yeah.
you'll make it back.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm not able to see the chat the way that I have my screen set up, so please do let me know if there's anything from me that comes in that we need to field.
Well, someone does say, "Burn Mum, just a fantastic crew."
We've got a message from IP Freely. They're saying,
Amanda hug and kiss.
well, this is huge, Az.
When are we doing the
I
Simpsons
like
stream
getting-
again?
Oh, it can't be far off. I'd say I do love getting this insight from Pilot, because this is like an extreme amount of planning. This is expertise. This is like dedication. Meanwhile, for faction events, I'm over here like, wait, you can the gold ones aren't the 9-hour. They can just do a 3-hour. And I'm like, I have like 300 of those banked, and I didn't realize what they did.
They're quite good. They're very
They're
good.
good. They're good.
And that leads into probably a good tip for anybody is you got to do your inventory first, including opening all of those shuttle boost packs. Get the carpal tunnel syndrome out of the way before you start the event, because you need to know how many you're going to have, and you don't want to run out on the last day.
No.
Poor Idol was so excited for this great segue into Kelis, and then we sort of backtracked and
we looped back
It's
a little
fine.
bit.
and
Hey,
he keeps
listen,
glancing at the notes.
I am well used to a
This is
tangent
part
on
of
this
the
show. Okay, Kelis, the milkshake extraordinaire himself, from the episode of
Extraordinaire.
Voyager, season 6 Voyager episode Muse, the same one as Lena. Lena.
Lena,
Lena,
yeah.
Thank you. Command Dip Med, slightly different from normal. He is Voyage rank number 76. He has an extraordinarily low event count of 1. But being based among the Command Dip ranks, would you say, who would like to weigh on his usability after this weekend? A 1 out of 5 Kelis or a 5 out of 5 Kelis? What do we reckon?
Well, a 1 out of 5 gold nowadays is better than most like 4 out of 5 old golds, or most like 4 out of 4 super rare. So if you get him 1 out of 5, I don't think he would. It's a case of when I was looking at this card, I was thinking, okay, I have Amanda Grayson from the Omega event, and I think that she'd be a bit more desirable of my roster because I don't have any place for Dip Command in my particular roster. I think that's well served by any kind of Mega crew, by any number of campaign crew. But if you want to target, for instance, Med Command, he does fill a slot there. I think he's the number 5 Voyage Med Command, which kind of should tell you just how dire that is, where it's the primary and tertiary is like adding up like that. He has really bad traits. I think it's a communicator, romantic, civilian, Maverick. I think Maverick is probably his only actual outside shot of a decent. I could see a Maverick Mega, for example, but. I mean, we could see a Writer Mega as well. There's a few of those that snuck by, but that feels more like a one-off unless we get the entire Far Beyond the Stars crew. The thing is, this is a really good episode. Like, I actually really enjoy this episode because it's one of those rare episodes of TV that's about kind of writing TV. And for someone who likes to write and enjoys the process of writing, seeing this character bounce off of Torres is a lot of fun in terms of what makes for a dramatic climax versus what actually happened, what is a good character catharsis, and especially seeing someone like Torres, who is not usually very articulate, who is very emotionally I was about to say emotionally subdued, but more like emotionally simple, I suppose. Have to articulate, hey,
Don't let her
guess
hear
what?
that. He'll tear you
She'll
to
get her
shreds,
ballad
man.
back.
Simple like a wounded targ, I know. But seeing her kind of grapple with, okay, I have to teach this guy how to tell a good story, I have to give him the inspiration, and I have to do it in such a way because not only is my survival at stake, but so is potentially the survival of a nation, because it's all about, if my play goes well, then these two nations won't go to war, which is a very Star Trek conceit. But
No pressure.
it's
No pressure. Fine.
no pressure, none at all. Not for an engineer. This is one of those crew that I could see if you really love this episode, you'd want to shoot for them. But as you said, this is like a pretty wide pool for event bonuses. All the positions, Rikers, Bashirs. There's a lot of bonus crew here. If you wanted to make a shot, like you said, this is a good one to do it if you really want to finish off a gold or if you want to rank highly.
So 2 things come to mind for me about Kelis. One, and this is not a indication of what we think of the card overall, but Stars talked about that Med Command, and he's number 5 in the Voyage pair. It's not an easy pair to stack. As we've been looking at, we did that roster citation show about a month ago, and just about everybody's Med Command was at the bottom of the list for Voyages and for shuttles. It's a very hard pair to stack. And so he's number 5 there. He's sandwiched between Mycelial Culber and Warship EMA. Those are elite medical crew. So, and almost all those crew are Med Primary Small Command. Rev Phlox, Dr. Pollard, Captain Beverly, Picard, the aforementioned crew, Nona, list goes on and on. So he's a good complement if you need big command, small med. So he does fit that niche rather well. And beyond that, I did not like the episode. I like the aspects that you mentioned, but it felt like, to me, like someone said, okay, let's do a rehash of Darmok from TNG. And they tried to do that, but in a slightly different setting. Did anyone else get that vibe from?
I did not get exactly not exactly a Darmok vibe. I mean, I have to say, overall, I did like it. It was, I think the only criticism I would level is that it was a kind of a small episode. I mean, big stakes for the planet that, these nation states might have gone to war, but it was a it was a small episode relative to the Voyager epoch. But it was a nice little diversion. Stars everything you said about Taurus being out of her comfort zone was good. She gives a big fuck you to the Prime Directive. That was enjoyable. So no, I thought it was a neat little episode. It was pretty fun. Kelis was a likable, interesting character. He's got a little bit of med, and it makes sense. I mean, we never complain about getting some med, but sometimes you're really scratching your head. And here I think he was bloodletting Taurus because she had a fever, and that was cutting edge medicine at the time. So that I think the card is, his traits might be garbage for the game. The card is well constructed, relative to the character. Maybe that's another little plus in his favor.
Big
If you had
plus.
him big plus, yeah. If you had him 5/5, he'd work for you for a long time. I don't think I'm gonna chase him because I know I'd never cite him, and he would just sit 1/5 forever. But not a bad card to pick up. But you're not going to be kicking yourself if you miss him, probably.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, he's the kind of crew you're going to see in a Behold in like a year or so when he joins the port, and you're going to be like, and then you might pick him over some real trash. You should be like, well, he's got a bit of mess. So,
Or he's a fantastic on a suicide choice,
we have other crew to talk about, man. Why are you wasting segues?
Full circle.
Stephen Sinner from chat just mentioned, is he wearing a WWE Championship belt? And I was thinking the exact same thing, because he is. And I think we've definitely got a fusion crew with him and the Pendari People's Champion. I think that has to happen.
All right, now who's wasting segues? Huh?
That engineer had a family.
Okay, so Kelis, divided. If you need him, you need him. If you don't, you don't. I think for those who have been sort of spec and command med, the Reverend Floxers, the Dr. Pollards, I think you might not get much use out of him. But if you sort of ignored that area, then you might sort of get some use out of him. But for command dip, that is still a swarmingly large area. The fact that his command med voyage pair scores higher than his primary and secondary pair is telling, but that just shows more about the skill combo more than anything else.
Absolutely.
Moving on, very briefly, let's talk about 1701 Bashir. And do you know what? I'm having weird flashbacks. I'm sure we've spoken about him before. I think this is like nearly or just before we started this show. I remember. I swear we've spoken about him. Brain going everywhere. 1701 Bashir, MedSec side, coming back. He will get him 3 or 4. Tier 2, fairly decent. MedSec is not entirely uncommon in the super rare leagues for those that need him.
Yeah, there are a few names that that spring out, sort of like Mirrorflux is the big one, as the tier 0 god of all men 4-star crew as he is, but. And then there's Captain Bashir, who is like 1 tier above him because he's just a little bit better of a Voyager, a bit better of a base. But this is still a pretty fun Bashir. Like, I don't know, I can't think there's anyone who doesn't like Trials and Tribulations. I really think they got the art down really nicely for Bashir here. He looks appropriately dweeby. And the fact of the matter is, like, oh god, I do say it. Now that I've been like pointed out, I can't avoid seeing it. Like, he's double collection crew. If for example, if I was to start playing this game like this weekend and I saw this crew, I would think, oh, I remember that episode, and that would help me on my roster for a long while, because even mediocre MedSec crew will voyage for you long after the mediocre command dip and dip side crew have fallen by the wayside. And like Bashir's gone through a bit of an event drought recently. Like, he kind of goes in like peaks and valleys. Like, we had that event, the Augment Mega a while back, and that was kind of his crowning glory, and then it's been a bit quiet. But you can do a lot worse than like grabbing big med bases for 4-star crew. Yeah.
Stephen Sinner, he also says, is 1701 Bashir worth a dupe? I want DCPilot to weigh in. I think there might. I think he.
Put on the spot, and sorry, I would say no, and there's a couple reasons why. One is the better Bashirs, like Stars mentioned. So if Bashir's event crew and your Bashirs are getting bonus, there's a lot of med seats in those events. but you might have better Bashirs to fill them. And when there's not a Bashir bonus, it's probably Bones or some other, legendary med crew who's going to fill the much more sparse med seats when there's not a Bashir necessarily a med crew who's bonus. So no, I personally would not dupe the 1701 Bashir, and I say this as a big advocate of dupes. I've got several of them. I've got more ready to build if their events hit again. But I would pass on the dupe Bashir. I'd rather take the honor and bank it for the next honor sale.
You
Couldn't
understand?
be more wrong. I can't believe we've allowed you to come on this show. Let me explain in great detail why you couldn't be more wrong. No, I agree. He's not worth duping. He's actually the 6th best Bashir med base, which, okay, you do 6th best, 12th best, whatever. These ranks are easy to get lost in, but when you're talking about shuttle events, there's not a lot of med seats. Now, if Bashir is featured, there's going to be a few more, but the 6th best, it's nice to have. Maybe you probably want to thaw him, but duping is it's a whole other animal. I think if you're at the point in the game where you're actively duping crew, that's sort of comes down to your own situation rather than the card. But I will say that this is a crew worth finishing, especially if you're a new player. Do whatever you can, burn your boosts, let your void just slip for the weekend. Try to get that 3rd copy, and then if you can, throw that citation, campaign citation on him, because A, he's not in Portal. B, he's got a great skill set and good power for the early game on voyages. His base actually ranks pretty highly among super rares, despite him not being the best Bashir for it. So 2 collections as well. He's really an all-around package for super rare. And if you're not the kind to try to save those purple citations for voyage exclusives and the such, I would definitely use him on 1701 Bashir early on in your journey.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would
absolutely,
second that. Sorry, Stars, go.
You are the guest.
Oh, okay. Well, I would second that. Yeah, on finishing Bashir specifically, even if not duping him, if you can get him from 3 to 4 to 4 out of 4, however you need to do that, if you don't have the purple site, pull in a pack this week. Pretty good gamble. You're probably going to get Bashir, but just set yourself a budget. You're going to pull 1 pack. You're going to be happy if you get Bashir. You might be happier if you get Riker Rodan or Mycelial Culber. But yeah, even I would say if my VIP 0 account had the dill, I recently bought my 4th shuttle and I don't have the dill to pull a pack. But if my VIP 0 account had the dill, I would pull 1 pack to hopefully finish Bashir and maybe get one of the golds because they're both good.
I think this was the very same reasoning that Stella Ice had when she said, this was the only pack I'm going to purchase because there is literally, I can do no wrong. I will either finish the purple or I'll get lucky and get one of the golds.
And I would point out also, nobody, I've stepped on Stars again, I'm so sorry. So quickly,
okay, we have them muted.
It's fine. Yeah, exactly.
None of these cards is in the portal. This rerun is too new. Mycelial Culber predated the first run of this event, but he never made it to the portal. Riker Rodan, 1701 Bashir, none of them is in the portal. So if you're ever going to pull a 650 pack, and you don't have these cards finished, this is the one.
Yeah, this is a very oddly structured pack, as we've mentioned. Like, even though Holonovel Doctor is going to be a featured crew, he's not in this pack, so your chances of getting 1701 Bashir are guaranteed. You're going to get him. Just case of how many Culbers and Odans do I have to go through before I get him?
Damn!
Oh, terrible. Damn again. But going back to your point about duping, with dupes, especially for 4-star crew, you want to target crew that have a higher faction rate, and I don't think that Bashir has a particularly good one. I think it's mostly Galaxy and Skirmish, as I recall. You want to target crew like, oh god, this is where I expose my
Kirk, Paris.
Janeway, Kirk, Paris, mostly Voyager crew. I think the Cisco has a decent one as well. Burnham, Giorgio, like those kind of names. If you want an exact break,
Sorry, this would be Bashir's 6th faction event in the history of the game.
Which is not terrible, but yeah, as you say, not exactly dupe worthy. If you want to get like a breakdown of what crew have a good faction rate, then there are resources out there that will tell you, and then you can sort of go, this is a high faction rate character with like a high recurrence of like certain seats that they'll be useful for. That's one worth duping. Other ones not so much, but
Yeah, Stars, I think your point about seats that they get a lot is also worthwhile to stress, because it's not just are they a high faction rate crew, are they going to fit in a common seat? And for me, somebody like Section 31 Philippa Giorgio or Mintakan Troy, strong common dip base, constantly gets events. I've got a couple of her. I'd build another. Those I see value really in the dupes.
Yeah, and it's actually kind of interesting that a lot of the 4-star Bashirs are actually quite decent because there are a lot of MedSec. There's RF Bashir, who is like a 2-skiller with tons of collections. There's this Bashir, who's MedSec Psi, and then you've got Captain Bashir, who is also MedSec Dip, and you're gonna get seating. Pretty sure almost every Bashir has sec in some permutation, maybe one or two exceptions. So you will find places for them in a Bashir event. It's just a case of when they'll come along, because they do go in droughts. People do have dry spells where they don't get any work at all. So
You thought this would be a quick discussion, did you?
No, I'm not actually going to move us on.
Wishes.
No, it's fine. From chat, Nobleman asked, just a thought, what's your experience in purchasing post-event packs? Is it just me being lucky, pulling the better crew from the event than prior to during the event? I think what he's saying is, are these sort of post-packs better? And I think it comes to the old adage of what we've said before about Tuesday packs, is don't pull 6-packs. And like we've said before, this pack is sort of, if you don't have any of those crew finished, it's win-win. So it does depend. I think at $650, it's a bit of an expensive bargain, but I wonder what you guys think on the actual event packs for trying to target the gold.
Before they answer that, I was just going to ask her, and I'm glad she's in chat. Stellar, do you regret pulling on this pack last time, since the event has been rerun relatively recently?
Well, I have to say, I don't think this is the one Stellar pulled. I think it was an Age of Sail Troy. We'll see.
I thought it was this
you
one.
Want to bet on it?
Controversy.
she can set the record straight.
Yeah. So on that point of the price point, this is the exact same price point as a standard 10 times premium pool. This is so much less diluted. There is absolutely no reason to pull on that standard pack anymore. Not really. If you want to target a specific crew, you just have to wait until they come back in rotation. Even arguably a 6-pack is better than diving into a premium pool hoping to get a specific crew. And I say that as someone who has been burned by 6-packs multiple times in the past. It's the nature of the game. If you're searching for a particular crew, you will not get them until you've burned at least 10k dill. But regardless, you at least had the opportunity to go, these are the potential range of targets. Here is who I could get, and I'm going to go diving in for that small pool. Whereas you go over something else, and oh look, I got a gold. What was in it? Oh yeah, Cadet Lacano and Burn Mom, and I don't know. You might get lucky enough to get a Protomorphosis Dwarf if you're someone like me. And at least with recap packs and event packs and recaps and all these various different packs that they've tried adding in, you get a lot more control over what you're getting. As to your luck, well, that's an absolutely personal experience. That's completely subjective. You can't, unless Ben wants to tell us something. You pick your battles.
Yeah. Update, Stella says, yes, this was the one I pulled, but she says, I'm a little disappointed that it got flashback so soon, and I could have just waited, but it was no lose pull, and I no wasted dilithium, so no regrets. Let's move on. Let's and I'm going to say this emphatically, very quickly, talk about Holonovel Doctor. This is the ranked reward, so if you're thinking about, I don't want Kelis, but I'd like to sort of just hover just underneath it, 4/4 on Holonovel Doctor. Do you invest your stocks, or do you think I'll just run my 4 and see where I get?
Well, this is quite an old card. I think it's 2017, 2018. And it's a case of, this is a 2-skiller. Any dock event will always have med seats, will always have a size seat. And he does count for Physician. He's got a few odd little tricks. I think he's got Athlete and stuff like that. Honestly, he's kind of trash compared to the newer Golfing Doctor, which was Tea Time Doctor, which came out, I think, about 9-12 months ago.
And I've just realised I've got the wrong picture on screen. I do apologise. I always get the confused. Yeah, I've got Author Doctor, not Holonovel Doctor. I mean, anyway, sorry. Apologies.
They run together. It's fine. Like I say, the Holonovel Doctor is not an amazing crew. If you're especially early game, the med will help because you need to clear nodes, whatever. and you can just shove them in the freezer, and you'll bring them back out eventually. The thing is, the Doctor tends to attract a lot of collections. Like, we've got President of Earth, who is, I believe, physician, diplomat, inspiring, and Bride of Kelis, like 3 or 4 collections on one crew. And then you've got, like, all of them count for physician, all of them have, like, various different things. We've had Mirror added. We don't know what's coming. If they decide to add, God knows, like, an athlete collection or a writer collection, like Author Doctor, for example, that would be another one added on. You can do far worse than collecting crew and shoving them in the freezer, and then 6 months, 12 months down the line, getting a collection boost.
You wanted short.
There you go. That's short. I was spending most of the time trying to find the image.
I guess.
I was just trying to find the right image.
Quick thing.
Go on.
Now that you found the right image, hopefully, I just want to point out he actually is in the portal, unlike the crew who are truly featured and in the pack. So, if you don't get him from rank, then he'll be a straight drop when you want it to be gold.
He'll be on a voyage.
He'll fall for you. He'll fall on a voyage. You'll end up getting him. I don't think you need to really blow your resources to chase him unless you want him along the way to Kelis. But he's not bad. Everybody should and everybody will get him eventually.
Absolutely. Okay. Where are we up to? Hang on, I need to find the show.
Mycelial Culber, I believe.
Indeed. Let's talk about the yes, professionalism. The person that's I'm trying to piss about with images instead of actually following the show notes. Mycelial Culber, only available in packs, only previously available in a Tuesday pack, and this one when it originally ran, and not in the portal. This is your chance to get him, but it's again like the oddity he is. Tier 2, Med-Sci Command, Absolute Voyage Powerhouse, Voyage 23. Worth shooting for because you're only going to get him in these packs unless we get a portal update soon, which we're kind of hoping for, in which case he might be in one of the 7,365,000 crew you could possibly pull if you're lucky to get the 1% chance of a gold. Please, talk me into pulling Mycelial Culber.
Okay, so number one, I think Otto and I are pretty agreed that this may not be like, a tier 1 crew in terms of overall stats. Like, he's got relatively meh traits. He doesn't have a massive amount of collections. But as an all-rounder, he's kind of amazing. You're getting into Discovery events. You're getting into Culber events, which there will be. He has a bit of a gauntlet use. I managed to smack Sulan a few times in the face with him because he's got a relatively decent med command role. I think he does get, 45% because he's Federation Romantic, I believe. I believe he's one of the single best med voyages in the entire game, and if you are struggling in that field, you could do far worse than 1 out of 5 Culber. His art is amazing, and you could do so much worse than a main cast of a currently airing Star Trek show. Now, I say that with the caveat that Picard has come and gone without any megas. That being said, I think you'll be all right. Like, we can't keep on having Data, Troy, Cisco, Janeway, Kirk variants while Discovery goes through season 3 and season. There will be variants. There will be events.
Want to bet?
And you will find places. I actually, yeah. What do you want to bet? Do you want to bet 1,000 packs?
Okay. Well, this is. So Discovery has been in the game for over 3 years now. This is Culber's second event. The first one was the first time this event was run. So,
what was
just saying?
What was Doctor Who? Was he an event or was he a Tuesday?
He was a pack only.
He was a pack as well. Wow.
Think Sato's lead in diplomacy. That was 2-skill Culber when he came out. A monster.
That was. It's also, I'd like to thank Otto for moving the goalpost there by saying, it's only Culber's second event. Yeah, because Discovery had 4 megas, but, whatever.
You said if Discovery Mega stopped, right? You said main cast, like Wesley Crusher's main cast, right?
Okay, so I don't
think anyone will make that claim.
I am been playing the game for 2-3 years now, and I've got Pollard, I've got Reverend Phlox, I've got a few other Med Command, I've got Indulgent 7, do I need Mycelial at this point? Is this someone that will, no matter who I've got, will increase my stats?
Okay, so there is a name that everyone listening should be familiar with, Soji Asha. She was a mega crew earlier this year. Um, if you were playing and you got a 4 or 5, you probably cited her. Are you using her a lot on voyages? Does she get a lot of use day to day? Okay, she is voyage number 43. In the 42 crew ranks above her, better voyagers, there is one med primary crew, that is Mycelial Culber. He is, for my money, the best med voyager in the game. He is good in the gauntlet, like Star said. He's not an auto include, but when a straight's line, you can take him. And he has had 4 billion discovery megas. So if you're a believer in that continuing, or you just love your discovery, and his art is freaking great. Now we talked a few weeks back, the whole thing that kicked off the timeline showdown and the whole bracket thing. I was going through my favorite golds, and it came down. The finals were well, he was in the semifinals. He got defeated by the eventual champion standing Kelis, but Mycelial Culber, say that 10 times fast, was in my final 4. His art is fantastic. I love the aura look. He's got the right skill set. You know, he's the whole package for me personally. But just in terms of voyage power, he is almost singular in this snapshot of the base or the voyage ranks.
Do we not have to dock his art a point because it's just an aura added to Dr. Culber, if I'm not mistaken? I mean, isn't it exactly the same art but a little bit fuzzy with spores?
They've turned down the contrast
He's
and
got different hair. He's got a different shirt. He's got like a different pose.
he's got a new hat.
Look,
He's got a new.
What's he gonna do now?
Look, other character greats like Captain Archer and Ensign Mayweather have had to deal with this. So he is up there with the pantheon of immortal characters. All
We
right.
know how we feel about humanoid figure. Okay. Also, do you want to talk about this next section we're going to do? Following on from last week.
You mean the honor?
The
Suicide Pact?
honor. I demand honor. Yes, that.
Suicide Pact. I swear we had this queued up, folks.
We did.
All right. All right.
Had what queued up? What,
fix it in
this?
post.
I love honor. I demand honor. I'm abusing that too much tonight.
All right. So we have a good number of you posted on the Wicked Realm Games forums to join us in the Honor Suicide Pact. Now, this was an idea that we, Stars, Big McLarge, Huge, and myself had about a year ago to what if we shrug off conventions and just go for these disgusting, terrible crew that no one wants to cite, but we really love their characters or whatever. So, and we had the idea back then that the nastier the numbers, the worse the ranks, the more it's going to hurt and the more fun we're going to have. So we did have some bad choices then, and I think we encouraged bad choices this time. So the 4 of us have crew picked out, and then I think about a half dozen from the forums joined us as well. So we're going to go through everybody's list. You can do this is not you're not honor.
Hang on. Sorry. I love honor. I demand honor.
You're not honor bound.
Oh, hey, there it is.
follow
Honor. I demand honor.
You are not contractually bound to finish the crew that chat has selected for you, but you know, I'm sure they'll be nice to some of us and mean to others. So,
How many how many people are joining us? 6 of them. I'm honored.
I love honor. I demand honor.
I couldn't take not being in the loop, so I've set my iPhone next to my iPad so I can see the lower decks clip. I was missing out.
good.
Anyone that hasn't seen it is missing out. So there will be a bit of audience participation for those thinking, oh god, we're going to have to sit through everyone else's site. No. Oh, no.
You get to be a judge, jury, and executioner. We're going to go through the 10 names, and then afterwards the links will be in our post on the forum, so you guys can decide individually afterwards. And I will be citing whoever you pick for me live on stream. Not only that, since this is the Honor Suicide Pact, I hope I don't offend anyone with this. I did pick some Japanese whiskey, and I will be taking one shot for each star that I have to put on the crew. So
How big is the
you
shot?
guys, if you pick
Is it a bottle-sized shot?
no,
How many
it's a
fingers?
shot. The middle one. So if you guys pick a 1-5 crew, I'll try not to be too angry at you, but don't. All right, so we are going to start off with esteemed guest, Mr. DCPilot.
With honored guest.
Boss, if you can throw the straw poll link in chat.
Oh, and
You
that,
guys
yep.
are going to choose the pain for DCPilot. He has picked Warship EMA at 2 stars, Delta Flyer Paris at 3 stars, Chef Riker at 2 stars, and Honey Bear Jadzia at 4 stars. So, Pilot, you want
Choose
to tell
your
us?
pain.
I'm gonna
Pilot, how about
say.
you convince the audience? Huh?
I'm gonna say first off, how is Warship EMA Pain?
You coward! You have no honor.
Yes, well, let's just tackle that. No, he's great. I think he's fallen from tier 1 to tier 2, but he might not fit the mold here. He's fantastic, and I absolutely love the character. I love the episode. He is so fun. But I make 10 hours on MedSec and I make 10 hours on Med Command. That's why I haven't cited him. And I cannot truthfully say that I would never cite him, but if I did, it would be for fun because I don't need him on the voyages. That being said, at 5.5, he would absolutely make the voyages. But and I would enjoy seeing him on the voyages. So he might be too good, but there he is. He's a crew that I've not cited because I don't need him and I love him. So we can go on down the list. Delta Flyer Paris, statistically, I'm sure the worst of the bunch. I looked him up today thinking he'd gone below Voyager 200. He's actually closer to 300.
Oh wow!
He's probably getting close to the 2-skillers. But another card that I love. My worry here is that Delta Flyer Paris might not even do anything at 5.5. He's 3.5. He certainly doesn't do anything now. He doesn't even make Gauntlet anymore. But I love the character. I'd like to see him done. I hope if he gets chosen that he will make a voyage or 2 here or there for his rare skill set, but we'll see. Chef Riker, I don't think I'm alone in loving Chef Riker. Idol, I know you're with me.
Oh yeah,
probably lots
absolutely.
of other folks. And he's got decent power. I certainly don't lack for his skill set. Otto, you mentioned Soji recently. I think he's got the same skills, maybe in a different order. And I've got 2 Sojis. Actually, recaps were lucky for me there. So Chef Riker probably would see some use. And I love him. He's in a hard to complete collection. He'd be nice. And finally, Honey Bear Jadzia. I don't even know if I need to say anything for her. Obviously, Jadzia is the best axe. And there's a big book entry that says something about pinups on your wall for her. She's super cool, also in a nice collection. And yeah, these are all cards that for me at least, I haven't needed to cite, but I like them. So we will see.
Okay, well, looking at the quick poll description, we're seeing a clear sort of just an edging lead here for Chef Riker, 33% of the votes, but close behind is Honey Bear Jadzia. So if everyone wants to get these polls, will be open for a while. So everything we post here will be going.
I actually have my IP randomizer going, so I can start putting in some votes.
Now, I have to admit, I voted for Chef Riker for you because I know how much Idol loves him. So if you had to cite him,
hang on,
and Idol doesn't get to, that would just make my whole day. So that's why I'm hoping you get Chef Riker.
There we go. I'll put my here. Okay. Who's next?
All right. Next up, we have Automaton 2000.
Oh, who's that?
And his crew.
The people that write into this bloody show, bloody disgraceful.
His crew are Ishara Yar at 3 stars, Navar at 2 stars, Admiral Nechayev at 1 star, and 7 of 9 at 1 star. Now, you may have sensed a small theme there. Fact of the matter is, they're just lovely ladies that I would like to have on my roster. 2 of them are a little bit better stats-wise, and 2 of them would do absolutely nothing for me except look fabulous on my bridge. So do I get to vote in my own poll?
You do not.
You should be able to.
I don't think I could stop you even if I tried.
Yes. Now I'm hesitant to mention the whiskey again because that may kill me, but so I was watching Ashara's episode yesterday, and besides pulling off the best catsuit, Guys Club in the entire Star Trek universe, even better than Seven has ever done, she was actually just a compelling character. I mean, this is a season 4 episode, and so they sort of do a tie back to Tasha Yar's her sister, and she says, Tasha was a coward for running away from the cams, got out while she could, and And Picard said, "Now hold on a minute. She was the most brave woman I ever know. When I met her, she was, saving children's lives, or however he put it." And so it was a good episode overall. They do the twist at the end where she's actually a bad guy, even though they tried to reform her into being a good guy. So that's a great episode. Obviously, Nechayev was another person who sort of had Picard on his toes, which isn't easy to do. He wasted all that time prepping the Balerian canopies for her visit, and she didn't even want them because it was important news. Navarre, another great Trek alum. I tried to look up how to pronounce her name.
I'm glad it's not just
Batten?
me.
It's hard to pronounce, man, but she plays a young Torzial in the episode where Breen
really?
Disguise Kira and Ducat comes from, who is a recent crew. She was also Irina in the Voyager episode Drive. And who doesn't love Orion Green Girls? And lastly, 7 of 9. I mean, is there anything more to say? Terrible, terrible crew, but the blue cat suit is,
Well, if we look to the polls, go on. Sorry, go on.
Oh, Ashar is a saboteur. It's my favorite trait. It's my most wanted, hoped for trait mega. It's a tiebreaker for me in a hard behold. So I hope that it goes Ashar because she's a saboteur. Okay, but Otto, I hope it goes for whoever you love the most. And to answer a question I saw asked a couple of times from chat, yes, I do have all of my top 30 Voyagers on my roster accounted for.
Hey, weird. Me too. Looking at the polls, it's looking like Admiral Chev is slightly in the lead here. Weirdly enough, no votes for 7. Oh, Ishara's just come up 6 to 6. So keep voting on the polls. We'll come back to these. End of the show, we'll come back to all of these, and we'll see where you guys have been voting. Okay, so who is next?
Next up, the eminently beautiful Stars and Garters. He picks Mira Stamets, away team Michael Burnham, Usurper Lorca, and at 3 of 5, Mr. Niners Worf.
Yeah, so you might be noticing a bit of a theme here. This is 3 Discovery crew and a Worf, which is kind of my taste in Star Trek. Some of these crew are pretty putrid. Usurper Lorca I got out of a behold not long ago. And I kind of picked him because I just like Jason Isaacs a lot. I love him in Event Horizon. I love him in pretty much any movie he's in. Death of Stalin. And Lorca is one of my favorite. I don't want to call him a Starfleet captain. I'll just call him a captain because he is Mirror Universe after all. This card is bad. I think he dropped to the 6-pack, and even then he wasn't great, and he's only gotten worse. Lorca's dead. He has bad traits. I think he's got Mirror and Villain. But I love the art. I think it was either me or my boyfriend coined him Leather Daddy Lorca because of the attire. And if I finished him, he would help in getting the Mirror Collection done, and it would be a pure sight for I like Jason Isaacs. Awaiting Michael Burnham is a crew that would help on Voyage because I don't have a lot of sexi. And I am probably in the absolute minority where I actually quite like Michael Burnham. I connect with her in in a few of her episodes. And even though this is probably one of her worst variants in terms of base power and voyage power, she would help me out in the long run. It's just a case I would never cite her because citing Gauntlet Heavy crew is always a tricky prospect. But if someone can push me in the direction, then that's always good. I'm gonna have to, say, Niners Wolf. I've got a whole speech prepared. It's about half an hour long. Do you guys mind? You don't mind? It's cool. He's 3 out of 5. I keep on taking him in beholds over probably better crew because Worf has a very small role in that baseball episode, but every single line is gold. Every single one of them. And I'm the level of Worf nerd where I'm like, ooh, I hope we get a 4-star version of him when he's wearing the green jersey instead of the Niners outfit. That's the level of obsession. He would do God. He debuted badly, and I think he's Voyager 269 or something like that now. Nice. Would do nothing on Voyages. I know, right? Well, eventually we're going to get Voyager 420, and then it's going to be a real one.
Yeah.
He would help out getting that vanity, but honestly, it's just a case of I love Worf. I could make a justification of, he'll help out in events, he's Klingon, he's athlete. No, I just... Okay. And Mirror Stamets is probably the least painful of all of them because he is Eng Med, even if it's the wrong combination. He does have a mirror collection, but his voyage numbers are pretty bad. I think he might have the most ignominious drop from tier 1 to tier 5 because we were like, oh man, this guy's going to be a real heavy hitter. He's got all these traits. He's got all this wonderful future ahead of him. And then, no. But the fact of the matter is, I love Stamets. I love how overtly fetishistic all the Mirror Universe outfits are. This is probably on par with auto-picking Admiral Nechayev in terms of, yeah, I just like it. Please go nicely on me, please.
Okay, well, so looking at the straw poll, Niners Wharf is in the lead with a couple of votes. So, you know, next up is Usurper Lorca. It is changing as we speak. So we'll come back at the end and we will look at that. But Auto, tell us who is next on the list.
Well, you can probably take your bathroom break now, Idle. This is a write-in from a Captain Idal.
Idal.
Yeah, Chef Riker.
Oh, weird.
7 in silver at 2 stars. Evie Suit Non at 2 stars. And the very lovely Dr. Ann Mulhall.
Okay. So Chef Riker was my most wanted card for ages. As soon as I saw him in the art, when back in what was early days for me, and I saw his art, I want him, but he's a Tuesday pack. I'm not gonna dump money on him.
Throw the link in chat. So
I need to do that, don't I? Shit, yeah. You'll need a vote on me.
Professionalism.
Yeah, we're talking about me now. No. So Chef Riker, no, I just really love that card. I love anything with Riker in it where he exudes his personality, and this is why I love Zheng-He Riker. It's why I love Nepenthe Riker. It's why I love Chef Riker. Anything where it's not just Riker being him, you know, Riker being an officer, it's Riker exuding his amazing personality. So, and this is absolutely one of those moments where it's him and Hoshi Sato. You know, and he's sort of, you know, chopping up stuff and sort of interacting with the crew. Even as bad an episode as these other Voyagers, Chef Riker was the high point. 7 in silver was it, and some of this is game attachment. So 7 in silver was the very first gold that I got because she was the promo.
There are 2 7 in silvers on this poll.
There are what? Sorry.
And
Oh,
no
hang
Chef
on.
Riker.
Hold on.
Ah.
Thank you,
All right,
viewers, for
Get
being
to vote.
alert.
Get to vote. Go
Ah,
Hold
also.
on, I'm writing up a new one.
All right, hang on.
This
Scrap
one
that.
is my
Scrap
fault.
that. Ignore
While
that
the
link.
technical
Roll the video to buy time.
No, while the technical difficulties are being fixed, I will say, stars. I quite like away team Burnham. Yeah, she's not a stellar Voyager, but you know, Sexa, you stick her in the end slot, and she does really well there. She's Burnham's best psi base. She's got a lot of variants, but best sec base. She's got very little sec. She's Burnham's sec base for events. And plus the tactical vests are smart. They just look super
They
cool.
are. I really like them.
I actually really love Discovery's like costuming choices, like going pure white for all the medical personnel, and the tactical vest so that people actually are wearing armor on away missions, which is fucking revelation. And I even Auto, who has said that he doesn't massively like Discovery or Burnham, has admitted that the art for this card is actually really nice.
Quite.
I think talking about
She's a
Discovery's
favorite of mine.
Discovery's
The
away
link is
team.
in chat. Idle,
Oh,
so
link
you can
is
throw
in
that
chat.
up.
Hang on. Talking about the sort of Discovery's away team stuff, there was a moment in season 2 when you had away team Spock in his away team uniform, and he turned around and you're like, "Whoa, you are built. You've got something to do."
He's in the ED suit, and they have those really like ass hugging like things. Like, whoa.
Okay, new poll. Let me
Girls
just-
Club.
Hey, listen, we can all appreciate it. Oh, hang on, that's the wrong link. Hang on. What did I put in chat?
No, you put the right one in there.
I know, I just got to find it so I can bring it up on screen.
You got the right one.
Okay, so
baby.
7 in silver. 7 in silver, I chose her because back in the early days, back when I first started, back before when I had my second child, I was looking over the Google Play Store for something to do at about 4 o'clock in the morning, and I saw, play this Star Trek game, get 7 in silver, and I was just like, yeah, fuck it, sure, why not? Click. And then this all devolved from there. So she was sort of the first gold crew I have. She's not great. She's got some, quite large bases for what she has, euphemism aside. but being a two-star, but I will always have that emotional attachment to her crew because she was one of the first golds I got. She was the reason I started the game and the reason that brought me onto a lot of other things. The reason I met you guys, reason I got into spreadsheets, and the reason I met a lot of other people in this game that I really like. So I've got a lot of emotional attachment to Seven and Silver. EV Suit Nan, I really like it. You know, I love her character, and just having a Barzan in Discovery is cool enough as it is. But the fact that, you know, she's sort of a bit of a... She's not main cast. She's one of the sort of like off-cast crew, but she has a bit of personality, and she's in season 3, and I'm really excited to learn more about her. Dr. Anne Mulhall, again, another game attachment. She was my very first 1-500 win. It was a skirmish. I had a Constellation class. I did it on normal. I did it with Killy and I forget who else. Possibly jazz musician Riker, I think, because he was the only person at the time that would give me enough attack boost. But I was very happy, and I tapped away all weekend, and I think I got something like 1,300, so I overdid it. But yeah, you know, she's not a great crew by any means, but she was my first. Definitely.
I have to say that is Idle. That's a solid lineup. I love Chef Riker too. Seven and Silver, you and I started playing around the same time. She made every voyage and every gauntlet for me for a long time as a new player.
Her engineering scores were so good. When you're doing those opening missions, she was just like, "Oh, it's engineering. Are you 7?"
Yep, away missions, voyages at 1-5, everything. EV Suit Non, I just hats off to the costume designers. If in case no one has noticed, the EV suits in Discovery, they have your normal color shirt built into the EV suit, and I didn't catch it the first time. I caught it on rewatch, and I was like, "That's super cool."
Yeah.
Pike's is gold, Non's is red. This is brilliant.
It was really
and
nice.
Mulhall was also my first 1,500 win as well. First one gold for Luna. So,
Eskimo buddies.
Love is in the air.
No, it's like Scotty says in Relics. It's like the first time you fall in love. You never love a woman quite like that again.
Just
okay.
Yeah, go on.
No,
okay, so
can we move on, or are we going
well, very quickly,
morning?
Looking at the straw poll, Chef Riker is very slightly in the lead, but please, guys, keep voting on all of these. They'll be open for a long time. Okay, who is next?
All right, next up we have Rara Racing, which kind of sounds like a Scooby-Doo character. Rara Racing, he first listed several very poor crew, and then a couple posts later said, maybe I should have watched the YouTube video first. If it's crew that I like, but that may not be great, it has to be Aviator Yar at 2 of 5. And of course, he scampered off without putting the poll in chat. So let me...
Professionalism.
Yeah, let me pull that up and throw it in chat. Where was I? So Aviator Yar 205. I have fond memories of using that card all the time back then. Lots in voyages as a 1/5, and even in the Gauntlet. And he also lists Captain Civil Forge at 1/5 as a crew that he doesn't hate, apparently, but is not very good for obvious reasons. No, I'm sorry, that's Captain LaForge. And then since he didn't read properly, apparently neither did I threw Captain Civil Forge into from his naughty list. So did that show up in chat? This is a level of professionalism.
Did not.
Okay.
Professionalism.
Great. So now I gotta log in. Got it. Now I am Timelines Talks. Is that gonna go through for me?
How are you finding the show, DC? Aren't we a paragon of web production?
Look, we all have roles to do.
One good thing about Twitch is that you did not have to log in to chat, and that would have saved auto time here. It would save everyone time.
Yes.
Yes, I forgot the chat because I went
idle because...
Anyway.
I love honor. I demand honor.
Carry on.
All right. So there you go. He likes Aviator Yar. He likes Captain LaForge, both with a few stars. And then as penance for not reading properly, Captain Civil LaForge is also up there as an option for him.
Well, Aviator Yar's a pilot. Sold. What more do you need to know?
Your
I tell
second
you what,
weakness.
I've got an affection for that card. Like Timelines Originals, and I just really like that art for like Natasha had so few opportunities to smile or be happy in TNG before she died, and it's like having even a non-canon version of her where she's just actually happy and smiling. I actually quite like it, and if I have an affection for that sort of like era of aviation with like the big old bomber jackets and the 50s curls. It's like I have an affection for that.
Now, we already talked about Captain Silva LaForge before and how bad she is. So this is the perfect honor suicide pick. But I have to say, I think Aviator Yar is like the best originals card they've ever done, right? In terms of art,
Definitely.
concept, like the items fit with the character. You disagree, Finn?
No, I'm just thinking about it. No, I think you're probably correct. Like I quite like Mirakela, but that's just because I dig Klingons.
I think we need, the era of Timelines Originals. We need some more. I would like to see. I mean, I can understand how it's a hell of an investment, but it was.
Last one was assimilated Troy, and I'd be happy for more because she was quite a good card.
Yeah, it was John Delancey's pick of his favorite character from the show. Work that one out. Okay, so let's have a look at some results. What we got? Straw poll is guys, you are voting Aviator Yar quite significantly so far. So I think we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, as Namer said in chat earlier, how come you guys aren't bringing the pain? You're picking all of these decent cards. What's wrong with you?
I know. Speaking of, shall we move on?
Sure.
Who is next?
Up next, we have Ender W on the forums, and they have 5 choices this time. Falcon O'Brien at 1 star, Julian Bashir at 1 star, and Garrick Elam Garrick at 3-5. Now, they're not the best crew, but he would like to maybe finish them for the collection. It doesn't see himself citing them anytime in the near future. Then we have Navarre at 1-5. What a fantastic choice. Amazing character, amazing art, amazing actress. He says, I really like the Orions, but they're just not good cards, and she won't help with any collections and probably very few future events. And then lastly...
That's big show slander.
That is slander. She's fantastic. And lastly, Mira Spock at 1 star. Great art from my iconic episode, they say, and it's in 2 collections I could get help with, but it's just so old and powerless. He's practically the poster child of a decrepit legendary. And this is where you guys talk.
Well, I would say I've only got Mirror Spock at 1-5, so he's not doing anything. I think there are some people who have him fused up who use him in either daily arena or in skirmishes. What do you all think? Is he viable there? Would you you're probably not going to cite him up just for that reason, but you think he gets used if he gets fused?
I love
that's a hell of a tagline.
Awesome. That is brilliant.
Where were you in the pre-show?
As I said in our sound check, when he said, I was like, if you're going to be the new host, that's fantastic. You've just got the lines, you've got the segues. Right, I'm just going to fucking go. I'll see you later.
That's going to be the title of the show. They're getting fused, they're getting used. He's actually, I don't want to say good, but he's certainly usable. Spock gets plenty of events. Like you said, he's fine in arena. He activates early. So if you're using auto battle, instead of having, 5-6 activations all at 4 seconds or 6 seconds, it does break the logjam just a little bit, saves you picoseconds if that's your thing for skirmish events. He does now have 2 collections that require gold crew. So
that's true.
He's a pretty good all-around package, but yeah, the power level leaves him in that area where no one really wants to cite him, but they wouldn't mind having him at 5-5, which I guess is in the spirit of the thing.
Yeah. And there's a question I see. What am I drinking? I'm drinking Glenkinchie, which is a lowland single malt, my favorite scotch, or at least my favorite scotch that's reasonably priced. And so there's some really interesting collection cards on there. Spock, we've discussed, has 2. There's a lot of that DS9. Everyone's trapped in the holodeck collection cards there. Falcon O'Brien, I mean, his sec base, I think, is still something to be, something to contend with.
Pretty monstrous.
He might not get as many events as we'd want, but I'm sure he would get used. And Garrick, I don't know. Bashir, fused up. He's got that real even stat distribution, if I'm remembering correctly, probably still see some voyage use. So really, I mean, none of those is a world beater, but they're not bad. I think whoever gets chosen here, will end up getting used, and that'll be nice.
I just want to say,
DCPilot has this kind of voice where he can talk to me about like the worst crew, and we can make it sound like, no, it's okay, buddy, you're okay. You cite them 5 out of 5, they'll do stuff for you. Okay.
when we release the Timelines Talks brand of men's products, he is going to be hawking them for us left, right, and center.
What are you talking about? He's like
Absolutely.
he's an ASMR host waiting to happen.
Oh.
Yes, if Idle should meet an untimely end, don't worry, folks. The show will go on.
It's already in my will. It's fine.
Is that a threat?
I bequeath.
Like, what the hell?
I bequeath to DCPilot my hostage duties.
No, you can't
Accepted.
say no.
No,
Can't say
to-
no. I'm honor bound.
You
I
are
like
now.
honor.
You are backup host.
Honor
You are
bound,
back.
you
Okay,
say?
I will say you are backup host when I move house, because there will be a few weeks when I don't.
Idle. He said on. He
He's
said
honor
honor.
bound.
Oh, hang on.
I did.
I
You
love
missed the cue.
honor. I demand honor.
There you go. Okay. I'd probably go Falcon because Falcon is big base, but I'm liking the theme. The theme of
Oh my
our
God, I
membership.
just saw the art you put up for them. Very subtle. Idle.
Yeah.
very
Oh, you
subtle.
like that, do you? Yes, it's
Okay, moving on.
yeah. Let's do that.
I wasn't gonna mention that.
Who's next? Who is last? We got the last now.
No. We have. Oh, you can maybe going for another 3 hours on this. Up next, we have Rev
we do.
Damar, who's a frequent viewer / chatter, Discord buddy, and he posted this to the forums. So up up again is Navarre, presumably at 1.5. This was sort of scattered across a couple different posts. So I try to piece together a good pick of the litter. Navarre, presumably 1.5. Mira Spock, he says, I'd love to cite, but I'm wondering if 2 collections disqualifies them. No, man, right? Whatever rules you're having fun with, we'll all overlook the possibly good cards. Worship EMA. Up next, Mira to Paul, presumably at 1 star again. He didn't list stars. And then later he says, I realized while watching the stream that my Honor Suicide Pact should be Damar. I'm guessing he means the Gold Revolutionary Damar.
Fake fan.
So,
What?
so there
Oh,
you
his name's Rev Damar and he's not got Rev Damar used up. What the hell?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
I know.
That is a criminal. Like I know, we've all spoken to him. He's been in this game for quite a long time now, and you've had plenty of honor sales, plenty of sites given away to you, and he's your namesake.
Hold on, I have to do a Quark bit. I was having Kanar with Damar.
A quick aside. Maximilian Song says, will this event have a 400k reward? No, it will not. Mycelial Culber is not the 400k. That is for reruns, not for flashbacks. Please continue.
So Rev is in chat, and he says Spock is 3 stars, T'Pol is 3 stars, and Navarre is 1 star. So
It's
if
Damar.
that should sway your
It's
vote,
gotta be Damar. If you're not gonna do it when you could have, you've got to do it now.
It's got to be Damar, but that T'Pol, that's not even the uniform she was wearing in that scene.
No.
I rewatched.
No,
all
you're
of
right.
Enterprise
Actually, she's wearing the
not long ago.
NX-01 outfit in that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and they've got her in the 1701 outfit, and it's just no. I give up.
actually, Navarre rhymes with Damar, so that's close enough, and
Yep.
she's way better to look at. So go vote Navarre.
No.
What is this, the Green Thought Show? Come on, man.
Yeah, instead of Twitch thoughts, now it's YouTube thoughts.
Okay, chat. People are leaning to the polls. People are leaning towards Damar, a little bit towards Navarre. So Navarre Damar is the slash fiction I want to be seeing. Kanar, Navarre and Damar with Kanar is the next 50 Shades of Grey. So moving on, who's next?
Yeah, 50 Shades of Earl Grey as
Oh,
what you posted earlier.
I
All
did.
right.
Yes.
Up next, we have Emperor Borg Drone. And they didn't say much about their choices. They listed a lot of much better crew. that they have on the roster and said that these are sort of the worst of the lot. So we have I didn't get star counts. We have Surgeon Bendover Pulaski, Assimilated Janeway, and Desert Philippa Georgiou.
Well, I have to
And
say,
this is where you three talk.
I love the art for Janeway, and I'm always a Janeway fan. Any Janeway will work for events, so I've kind of got to give her the. You're not quite on a suicide because you will get use eventually, but I would say
I have to say, on the matter of the art, do you not love that Janeway's ability to like put her hands on her hips survived even through assimilation?
Oh, absolutely. She's there in the cubicle like that. She's like, just standing there and then just reassimilate. She's just like, coffee. Resistance is futile. No, coffee.
Nanoprobes.
Coffee, then I'll assimilate.
Yeah,
Now,
I'll simulate the coffee.
I'm voting for Pulaski not only because she's a pretty bad card, but she's a Timeline Stalk's favorite because of that one episode extra who's doing the song and dance until she can show this man is dying, heterocyclic declination. And he was way better in that episode than Surgeon Pulaski. So she couldn't even win her own episode. So
couldn't win her own episode. Jeez. All right, I have to say, I like Georgiou here. I mean, she's got only 2 skills. She's never going to voyage, but she's in 3 stat boosting collections. You know, that alone, it's huge value, but it doesn't make her great that would disqualify her from honor suicide, at least in my estimation. I like Borgway quite a lot. This Pulaski I call Turn Your Head and Cough Pulaski, and apparently I have to rewatch the episode because I don't remember that bit. I feel like I'm missing out now.
That was the extended episode, that was. The same episode where Picard aggressively eats sandwiches at Wesley.
Which is a brilliant scene.
It is a great episode. Actually, a Samaritan Snare, for anyone that wants to know, the one with the Packlids.
And where we also get like noted fan of history and archaeologist Picard saying, "Oh, so that's when the Klingons joined the Federation."
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, could be a behind the scenes choice. Looking at the polls, we are seeing a clear lead for Surgeon Pulaski, but we shall see. We'll come back next week and see what the final decisions will be. Okay, who is next?
we have Dirk Gunderson, and his 4 crew are Commodore Matt Decker at 2 stars, Abe Lincoln at 1 star, Lasan and Jamel, the 2 Andorians, and he says, together I have cobbled 5 stars for these 2 crews. So I put them at 2.5 stars each, because I don't know who's at what star count. So, and now this is the proper suicide pack, because none of these crew are particularly good. About Decker, he says, I went out of my way to get his 1st star because William Wyndham's performance as the Haunted Commodore was phenomenal. But other than taking a 2nd star in a Behold with no better options, I haven't touched him since. Would he be useful? I doubt it. As Mir Picard has the same skill set and is only missing 1 trait that Decker also has. Still, an iconic role from an iconic episode. About Lincoln, he says, this is my oldest crew that has never made it beyond the 1st star. And because I don't even remember the early days all that well, he is also maybe my first 5 legendaries. Of the Andorian ladies, he says, I have cobbled together 5 stars for these 2, but none of them are by citation and none ever will be. Don't speak so soon. They may be. They may be by citation. On one hand, they're 2 skilled crew useless for voyages. On the other hand, I love Andorians, and they're the only ones I haven't immortalized.
I think
Andorian representation is pretty poor in this game, but I put my vote in already for Decker because, yes, that is a great performance, and I also, they don't have it in the art, but my abiding memory of his performance is him sitting in the chair like this, and he's got those little primary colored little cartridges that are like the computer discs, and he's just playing with them. And it's like, I don't know why that stuck with me, but I know that I like Decker, and I think
he went full insane Commodore in that episode, definitely.
Yeah, and I think he's got 400% instant damage. I wouldn't be surprised if you end up finding some kind of use for him at some point.
So
I don't remember his voyage power being terrible, even if it's not great. Fused up, if he gets a trait match, he'd probably.
It's like 140, 160, I think-ish. It's not terrible.
And maybe if he hits a trait, he'd grab a seat. And of course, Lincoln's a diplomat. Always take Lincoln. Always use Lincoln.
I'm half wondering if our writer is feeling a little bit guilty because they ended up with Jamel and they didn't mean to, because it was possibly a low-scoring event. And although you might love the Andorians, she's not a great 2 skiller. And that was the one we had the hopes on, really, thinking, oh, fantastic, the Enterprise Mega. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, no. If Ben is listening, an Andorian collection, maybe? Give some value to the Shrans. The Shrans are really not great. He's a good character. Let's let Shran work for us by being in a collection, please.
So none of them are by citation, and none ever will be. Just for that sheer fucking hubris, I voted Lisan. So I am campaigning for Lisan. If anyone of you haven't casted your votes yet, go vote Lisan.
I love honor. I demand honor.
Yeah. I got nothing. Okay, next group.
So, Pilot, are
I've
you
had a
available
bottle
next
of
week to host this?
Next week. I'm sadly finished with vacation, and no. But pencil me in for the future. We'll plan ahead.
What a shame. Oh well, yeah.
You live on this job docket one more little week. Oh God.
Who is next, Auto, please? I believe our final victim for this week will be...
Yes, final one. Okay. Oh, and I forgot to put I got star counts for one of them. All right. Commander Sinclair, Sheriff of Nottingham Q at 1-5, and Rain Robinson. They say of Sheriff Q, it took 3+ years for me to see him in a Behold. He was the only Q I didn't have, and being both a fan of the character and thinking foolishly that all Qs should have some extra relevance in this game. It took me a while to pull the trigger when I saw that he was a 2-skiller. He sits forever unused at 1-5. And of Rain Robinson, they say, I absolutely loved that episode of Voyager. Kind of cute and howdy doody kind of way, as she says.
I was gonna mention that line.
I had already been a fan of Sarah Silverman's before that, so I spent a bunch of dills trying to get her in the Tuesday pack when she came out to no avail. She had decent stats back then. I didn't get her until a few months ago in a random Behold and was genuinely excited, and then she was leveled and forgotten.
I have to say, I love Rain for her episode as well, and Future's End is a great Voyager part. But for me, for like being the Star Trek history nerd, is like, oh, we're taking this episode back to 1996, was it? I think 95, 96,
Exactly,
1996, and like also at the same time, by the way, Khan has taken over the world in 1996 and 1999. I'm like, but no one gives a fuck. It's fine. It's San Francisco. We're still cool. So I think I have to go for Rain Robinson for that.
It's fine. They mentioned it took him 3+ years to see that Q in a Behold. I wish I had there. Like, I've seen him 3 times. Best option each and every time. So, vanity and a gauntlet pair. That's better than some.
I actually just got a message a few minutes ago from Commander Sinclair saying, I didn't realize I needed 3 choices in the pack. They wanted to stuff Captain Rachel Garrett in there. Don't worry, we're going to do this again. We're going to spread the pain to as many people as we can.
Oh, we will. So, looking at the poll, it is 50-50 each. Oh, so keep voting, guys.
Dicey.
All these polls will be up in the forums, and we'll keep them going. I think next week we'll say, hey, you've got to cite these fuckers. Okay.
Or your honor is forfeit.
Or your hang on.
That's your Q idol.
You're what?
I love honor. I demand honor.
I need to get a button for that. Okay. So now we've had our fun. Let me remove some things from the screen. Oh God, everyone's on the screen now. There
Hopefully
we go.
us. I hope it's us.
No, we're always on the screen. You cannot ever. You are forever on the screen, burned into everyone's retinas for all of eternity. Let's talk about.
No, if we're stuck for all eternity, it's got to be that TNG episode where they're in that hotel on that alien world that's built on a bad novel.
The Royale, yeah.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
I love that episode because I think
Royale
it's where Picard and Troy are in his ready room and they're listening to the computer read off the novel and they're both just staring off into space, slowly dying. And Troy is like, I have to go butter my plants. I'll be right back.
This Tuesday, we have another fantastic. Well, we have a pack featuring Facer Rios. Rios from the same episode that Sinister Picard came from, called Free Cloud, where the intrepid adventurers of Sinister Picard and Facer Rios and a few others visit to try and find Commander Bruce Maddox. But we have this card now: Dip Engineering Command, fancy hat, nice flashy robe, voyage rank 95, so he's in the top 100.
Is that meant to be damning with faint praise?
Pros and cons.
For anybody who's not been paying attention recently, Voyager 80, Voyager 100, they're still quite good. They're not in the later losers part of the scatterplot sheet that was up last week, but if you I dare say if you didn't have a Voyager in the top 75, you could probably still put together a 10-hour voyage with Voyagers 75 through 125 if you had them fully fused. So his voyage power is just fine. It's not phenomenal. This is another one. Voyage power is like Kelis. If you get him fused up right away, he's going to work for you for a while. He's not a world beater, but the hat. The hat is so good.
Yeah.
He's got a new hat.
This feels like someone at WRG was like, okay, we need to get this card out. What's the best way to put him in this case? Well, if we put him in an event, it'll be a bloodbath, and everyone will be upset because they can't get Rios with his fancy hat. So let's put him in a 6-pack, so we'll make the most money, which I don't begrudge them for. That being said, I don't think this is the kind of crew I would have personally put in a 6-pack because his stats aren't that great. Like you say, he's Voyage 95. He's in a relatively uncommon Voyage stack. But the problem is, all the names above him are relatively available and relatively recent as well. So for Dip Eng, not necessarily with Command Tertiary, with different tertiaries, you've got Interface LaForge, who most people would have gotten 1 out of 5 from the rerun of his event not long ago at the 400k VP point. Still an amazing Voyager. Like, you can't go wrong with him. You can get some gauntlet use. Like, not so much now with Red Angel, but even so. Zhian'tara Cisco, who is like a bit of a baller. Not in the portal, but if you had him from his event, why? That's an honor suicide pack. Go, there you go. I'm giving you an easy free one. It's not even that suicidal. Stranded Quark, again, an absolute mensch on Voyages, like a bit of Eng-Med, bit of Gauntlet, pinch use. Bridge Officer number 1, who has, I think, the exact same combo, and will have Discovery events in the future. And Queen Poe, who is in the campaign. Her voyage ranks are sagging a little bit, but a lot of people still swear by her, me included. She had quite a lot of traits for good antimatter on Voyages, so relatively similar sort of like performance. And then you've got Etana Joel, who was an old Mega crew. For comparison, he's 95, she is Voyage 144. So if you've got her, and she's been languishing around at like 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5, he will be an upgrade, but at what cost? Because jumping into a 6-pack, especially one that's like not the greatest, like I think what was like Satin Dress, Lily Sloan, and some pretty dire, like I wouldn't risk it personally. Like there are some crew that are worth diving into 6-packs for. This would not be my advice on this one. Thanks, guys. That quiet every time I speak, it's like I'm really happy to be here. I'm really
stars. There's nothing else to say. That concludes the analysis of Facer Rios. Like you nailed it.
Next week on Timelines Talks,
Next time on Timelines Talks, Stars shuts up.
No. To be fair, you were completely succinct to the point where it was like, yeah, that's it. I mean, looking at what would you say to anyone else in the Dip End ranks? Like you said, there's Queen Poe, there's Ishan Che. There are people out there that have already been gotten from events, from campaigns. Why would you? If you're not tempted by the fancy hat, well, if you didn't, not care for the Picard series for his fancy, attire and the whole sort of theme of the episode, why would you dig for him when you've had all these better opportunities? Even if you're free to play, there might even be some better Dip engineering opportunities.
Well, as you say, you managed to get that skirmish, like top 1500 on a Constellation class. I'm sure someone managed to scrounge enough time and chronotons to get Geordie from that skirmish, and he would outperform him.
Exactly.
His traits are also pretty poor. He doesn't have any collections. If you're the kind of person who's banking on Undercover Operative as an event mega, I think he's the number 2 dip there, alongside Narek, who is also his direct superior. If we're ever going to get a Picard show Mega, which is looking less and less likely.
Yeah.
That being said, if I were to tell you that next Mega is going to be Picard show themed, but all the event crew are the holograms of the La Serena, and they're all Rios crew.
Fuck yeah.
Would you be excited for that? Yes or yes?
Oh yes.
I think that'd be good.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Give me drunk tactical hologram.
Hold on. So next, if we follow the trend, next Mega, instead of having half a faction event, we'll have a quarter, 1 day of faction.
No,
24
all
hours,
factions. It's got to balance. We've gone from 1 to half to fuck you.
Okay, you know what that reminds me of? This is a real tangent, but guess what? We're real good at that in this show. Are any of you or anyone in the chat big Civilization players?
Yes.
Sid Meier's Civilization.
Civ 5, best Civ.
No? Okay.
Although speaking to WRG Ben, who is suspiciously absent from chat this week, he has been trying to talk me into buying Civ 6. So I do love Civ 5 though.
You should buy it just so you can play along with him and then get information out of him. So a bit of video game trivia that I think is really appropriate here is that in Civilization 1, every character had a set sort of diplomacy score. And it was the way that bit values work, it goes from I think 1 to 255. And it's sort of 1 is ultra violent, 255 is completely pacifist. So when they were creating the different world leader for Civilization, they put Gandhi on 255 because he is meant to be the ultimate pacifist world leader. But there was an error in the game that made it count up 1 exactly, so he swung around from being the least violent to the most violent. And they decided, you know what, this is hilarious, Gandhi will declare war at the drop of a hat, and they've kept it in every single Civilization game since Civilization 1, just for the fun of it.
It was a great game.
I've never even played it, and I've seen that alluded to before. I've seen it in articles. I love it.
It's a great bit of fun.
I could go on for hours about it. It's one of those. I'm just gonna play for half an hour tonight, and then it's 4 a.m, and just Jesus Christ, how did this happen? I've had other games like that as well.
You were looking for a game to play in the morning, and then now you're here.
Exactly.
7 and Silver was I recall, and now you can't escape. Don't forget, you're here forever.
You are here forever. But speaking of, Face of Rios is still up. So what are we going to conclude with? Don't buy 6-packs.
Never buy 6-packs.
If you love the hat.
We buy 6-packs all the time. Never buy 6-packs.
Never buy 6-packs.
We'll buy next week's 6-packs, but don't lead by our example. Don't buy them.
You know what the danger is? It's if you wade into this 6-pack and you spend 6,000, 12,000 dill on him, and you get him 1 out of 5, maybe even 5 out of 5, you're going to feel really stupid when, just like Queen Poe, just like Nexus Guinan, just like all of these, like Mycelial Culber, you're going to feel really silly when they turn up in a campaign.
Oh no!
Oh
no! Yeah, I was just about to say this is okay. So a while back, me and DCPilot were talking about, are we going to figure out that version of Reno? When they first meet her, and then she turned up in a pack, and I believe both of us spent quite a lot of dilithium to get her, didn't we? And then cited her.
And then 4 citations.
Exactly.
To use her.
And then a few weeks later was just oh, she's free, and I just sent you a message going, what the fuck? So yes, these things can happen.
Yeah.
However.
Yeah, lesson learned.
Yeah.
However, if you really
unless you're a Gary 7, and even then, I can't advise it.
However, I mean, Medic Reno, you could get away with because she's an absolutely exceptional card. She is stunning. However, if you really love Face of Rios, if you love the hat, if you love that scene and you want that card, because this is a card collection game, you get the crew you love, you cite the crew you love, statistically or not, by all means, take the plunge.
Yeah, and this is your only chance. There's never going to be a portal.
Well, apparently so. We still do need a portal update.
He's not going to make
he's not making the next 25, when the portal update's still aren't alive.
Exactly. Whenever we get an update, he's not going to be in it. He's going to be too new. So you're a year away. At least for though I want to point out the newest purples and golds in the portal are now over a year old. So think about how long
Oh,
it's going to
wow.
be before you see Rios if you want Rios.
Good lord.
Yeah, it split through the October Disco Mega of 2019, and we're in November of 2020 now. So I think there's a couple blue cards that have been added to the portal, but
Yes, because they
it's
felt too
dire.
guilty about not putting them in sooner.
I think sometime soon we're gonna do like a whole show about portal updates, and
Oh, we will have to.
because portal updates can only last for so long. I mean, as someone recently put it, I don't think they expected the game to last this long. So, there are a lot of different systems they can pull from other games, from suggestions, seasonal packs, all sorts of different stuff. But there's probably enough material that will put it in its own show.
To put it in perspective, we are approaching crew number 1,000. Not long now, within the next few months. So 1,000 crew in the portal. Okay, bearing in mind for the rarity differences, but that's a hell of a lot of people to get on a straight drop. And I'm still searching for those last few 0-1s.
Introducing crew number 1,000.
Yeah.
It is Dwarf Son Alexander with those weird little stick insects.
No. Alexander in the mud bath. Fused with Waxana.
Let's not.
No, let's not. Let's talk about this week's
Well,
limits.
hold on.
Okay, go on.
But before we transit, I threw something in chat, so I would recommend putting that up on the screen, because our reporter in the field, Rev Damar, did not wait for the dust to
man.
settle. He knew what his destiny must be,
Oh,
and he manned up and did it. So I should probably have vamped a little longer there, because I know
I probably should have, because this takes me. Hang on. We'll get there.
Vamp is a great word, though. Hats off, Otto. Love that
Well,
word.
I use it constantly, so it's not that great anymore.
The fuck did I download that to? Is it this one? Let's find it. Is it this image? It is this image. Good. That was a risky click.
What are
Well
you
done.
sending you most of the time?
Close your tabs, Otto.
Congratulations, Rev Damar.
Actually-
You have
Your tab,
fulfilled
Otto.
your destiny, and you are now a fully fused, immortalized revolutionary Damar. Why the fuck did it take you this long?
For Cardassia.
Kanafa Damar. Okay. Excuse me. This week's limited time offers, you will have the chance to purchase one of 2 exquisite crew from Wicked Realm Games' 1,000 plus crew lineup. First up,
But why?
but why? No, first up we have
That's what
we
we're
have
here to tell you.
a cup for some
Ryan Reynolds takes off his surgical mask.
for some reason we have some Odos, but usually the limited time offers are the offers are linked to the events. But for some, I can't understand why there are Odos. So we have Zhian'tara Odo. We also have Jazz Musician Odo available for purchase. Zhian'tara Odo was formerly a dip monster back in his day. Gentlemen, worth the buy.
Well, to answer your question, the only reason why I can think that he in particular has been added is because he is a Trill, kind of, because he was he's the aspect of Kurzon Dax that Odo took on. That's the only actual link I can see between him and the events. Jazz Musician, following on from that, I guess. It's a bit of an odd one.
I have to say, at the very least, they did not tell us that these crew would be useful in the event, because of course they won't. There was that time a few months ago, I want to say it was Mambo Picard, and there was an LTO, and it said, you'll be useful in the event, and there was no relationship and no bonus. So at least they're not telling us. They're not asserting that these Odos will be useful in the event, because they won't be. So I guess that's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, so Rev Damar in chat points out that the LTO has ended. Now,
Oh, yeah. Well, fuck this
weeks
conversation then.
We're late.
No, it's fine.
Oh,
no.
A few weeks ago, they were always ended by the time we discussed them, which was, whatever. And then the last few weeks, they had been extended an extra day, which was nice because we could convince people to spend their money wisely on these things. So now they're gone, but, their spirit lives on. So why not talk about them?
So we have
actually
go on.
Big book reference drink. When I started writing about crew, okay, you guys taking me seriously here. When I started writing about crew, I don't know, 2.5 years ago or whatever, I had put Odo at the very top of the list. He was this was before even Tears. He was one of the best crew in the game because of that duel. He was Dax, he was Odo. We were coming off a 7 event year for Dax. He had the biggest dip base in the game, I think by a margin, and he was still a useful Voyager. So he had all the pieces except skill set. And we thought, I thought, oh, he's going to be a runaway monster. And then all of a sudden they started throwing trade events at us. They threw 16 discovery events, and all of a sudden his event count doesn't look that spectacular. Now, still, variant events are a little bit more reliable in terms of faction usage. You don't have to worry about getting, half a faction every 4 Jadzia events or whatever our current mega rate is. So he's still very good for events, but that's kind of all he's good for now. And this is where you guys talk.
I would say so. We're
I'm just letting you experience the silence I've been dealing with. So.
I know. I don't begrudge you that, Stars, but the other 2 hosts.
I have no host title. I'm merely a guest, but I'll say
You're
yes.
just here to drink.
I'm just here to drink. Zhian'tara, Odo.
I'm a consummate professional, letting my colleagues, have some time to explore the boundaries of what they can achieve in this profession. But please.
Yes. Pseudo Curzon Dax. Interesting thing about him, his voyage power I think is sunk enough that you're not going to feel bad about not citing him, but even if you only have him 1 out of 5, when those faction events do roll around, his dip base is strong enough that he's going to work. He's going to make those shuttles. I don't think that that's necessarily true of Jazz Musician Odo, because I think I've got him 2 or 3 of 5 now, but at 1 of 5 his dip base was bubble. But Zhian'tara, however the hell you pronounce it, really not a bad card. If it's worth the $10 or whatever it is in your local currency, that I cannot tell you. He's not bad to have. He's not bad to pick up stars on. I wouldn't drop 4 sights on him, but he will be useful at 1 out of 5, and that's more than you can say for a lot of cards.
Absolutely, and when we get our Zhian'tara Mega, where we have like some well-requested cards like Zhian'tara Quark, where he's brushing Kira's hair, and when we've got Zhian'tara Cisco, who's banging his head against the wall as if he lives in 2020 America. There's a lot of cards in there that I think would be good fun.
We weren't going to get political tonight, but
It wasn't political. What are you talking about? I hate America any day of the week.
True.
Anyway,
You've never let go for the War of Rebellion, have you?
It's good tea you throw in the harbour, damn it.
You goddamn traitors.
With Jazz Odo, his greatest claim to fame is that he is part of the Holodeck Enthusiast collection, so if you're a fiend for that collection, then there is some value there. If he's the last star you need for that, then by all means he will net you a Lucille Davenport, for those of you who love your gothic romance novels, but for the rest of you, maybe not. Maybe not.
Perhaps not. Okay. So, following on from last week's shenanigans, shall we go back and talk about... Click the button, idle.
Welcome,
No,
ladies.
not that fucking button. Jesus Christ. Professionalism.
Hon-or.
This one.
This Wednesday on UPN, an all-out war. Competitors from all over the cosmos go head-to-head in a battle for supremacy. Captain Kirk versus Spock. Captain Kirk versus the Gorn. Captain Kirk versus basic human decency. Find out who will fall and who will be victorious on Timeline Showdown.
Yes, we introduced last week the proper Timeline Showdown, and this week we will show you who came out victorious for our rankings for next week. The qualifications were: who should replace Deanna Troi as ship's counselor? You're at the siege of AR-558. Who do you want your back at the foxhole? And who would you rather go on a date with? And the winner this week shall be who should replace Deanna Troi as ship's counselor. And we do have a list of criteria if I just pull up on the show notes. Hang on, I've just got to grab it.
We actually
There
have
we
the
go.
bracket composed, and we did this. Stars and I joined forces and worked on a pre-show, and we thought, oh, Morn, he's a great listener. That's an easy one. And then we started looking through the crew and like, this is tough. Like, we're trying to get good names, funny names, good replacement counselor names. So we blood, sweat, and tears. We
We got
nailed
a bit
it down.
philosophical here and there, I think.
Yeah,
We thought about this.
we whittled it down to the top 16. So we'll have 4 rounds of virtual battling over the next couple of weeks, and then do it all over again, because
Absolutely.
we demand blood and honor and guts.
Oh, hang on. You said the word. Wait a minute. Where's the
You-
button? Where's my button?
You need the button.
Honor! I demand honor!
Anyway, so in the brackets, which we will do next week, we will start the first round of voting next time. We have in the first bracket, round 1 was Humanoid Figure versus Morn. Round 2, Torpedo Surgeon McCoy versus Solar Sail Cisco. Round 3, Fungal Entity May versus Vedic Winadami. Round 4, Paraith Cult Ducat versus Warship EMA. Round 5, Tommy Gun Dixon versus Fury Kiss. Round 6, Armus versus Mirror Regent Worf. Round 7, Unbo Jitsu Riker versus Wrathful Kirk. Round 8, the final round, Groundskeeper I did so well. Groundskeeper Boothby versus Brain. What is Brain? Brainless Spock. So we will be voting on the majority of those.
Just remember,
next week.
Idol, #1 premium exclusive time.
Listen.
I noticed that he just gave up the pretense this week. He's just staring down at his sheet, reading it word for word before we start.
Okay, but
If you wanna know-
penultimate means the one before the last one.
It does. You are quite right. Thank you there for informing our audience of that. I was just testing you, seeing if anyone come up with it. If anyone wants to know, these are my notes every week. I have to have them in front of me. Notice the scrawled out WRG Ben on there, because I can't do that every week. Next week we shall be having our showdown.
The Showdown
And-
Hoedown.
The Showdown Hoedown, to end all hoedowns regarding Star Trek.
Showdowns.
Showdowns.
Throwdowns.
Shrandowns. And on that note, I believe it is time for us to call it a day. Oh no? Oh no?
Absolutely
Time for you to
not.
get to bed.
I promised drinking. I promised citations on this show.
You did.
All right.
The ultimate master.
Should we have a look
has
at
to
your?
show
Should we
his-
have a look at see where you're up to? You are up
Sure.
to. Ooh,
Oh, it's a tie.
Oh, it's a tie. Ishara Yar and Admiral Nechayev are tied
That
with
means you have to
9
cite
votes
both of
each.
them.
Yes. it
Okay,
means
You have to
Google.
cite them both.
I did say
heads
for a
Ashari Yard,
tiebreaker.
tails Nechayev.
I
No,
said
no.
Saboteur's my tiebreaker. You guys do
Well.
what you want.
And we're going to make this fair and balanced. Ashari Yar heads, Nechayev tails. Hey, Google, flip a coin. Hey, Google, flip a coin.
Is this thing on?
Okay.
Right, would you like me to flip a coin? I have a coin.
Try again in a few seconds. All right.
Hang on.
I'm going to Google and type in flip a
No.
coin.
I have a coin.
Oh,
Okay, what are you doing? So
All right.
what, heads?
Heads Yar, tails Nechayev. Please be heads.
It is tails.
Uh,
Okay.
hey, collections.
All right, folks.
Collections, and
Ne-
you get that naughty small mom.
And Nechayev is there at 1 star. And I bought these with honor before the.
Idle.
I bought these with
Oh
honor
Christ! Hang
before-
on, I've got too many windows open. Hang on. Where the fuck's the button? There it is.
I love honor! I demand honor!
All right, so I bought these with honor before the show, so it's not like I had them sitting around. Where is she? She's at 2 stars now.
2 stars.
Okay.
This is gonna take a while.
Cite that Tash. While you're
To
at
say,
it.
Otto, is she the last one you need for any collection tier? Are you going to get any immediate?
This is pure pain, no profit. So bottoms up.
Ooh, all right. Let's hope Mrs.
Let's
Otto can take care of you.
let's end every show with this. This is a great idea. Ooh, there's number 3.
There's number 3. I should sort of just reassure everyone that please drink responsibly. Know your limits.
Her base at 3 out of 5 is 727.
Is that the percentage on the alcohol, or is that?
No, I was just going to say it's my blood alcohol content.
727's an airplane.
That's a great reference. Thank you, DCPilot.
That's what I bring to the show.
For anyone wondering, you should go back and watch our. You should go back and watch our drunk stream if you want to see peak auto.
I was worried.
So at 4 out of 5 stars, her base is 869, which I think is the same as 3-star EV Sutuva. Oh, I think that was the last one. So
last one you can manage, or
there she goes up to immortalized.
Wow!
Hey, look at that! She finally broke 1K base.
Did she? I
Oh
don't know.
no, hang on. There was a miscount. Actually, it was 7. No.
Did she at? Oh yeah.
Hey, she did.
10, 12,
She's at 1012. What
Holy shit! A 1K base.
With
Best...
bonuses. With bonuses.
Yeah.
She's in almost at young to Pauk territory.
Best crew in the game. And on that note, I think we are going to say goodbye. So it's goodbye from me.
At
Goodbye.
6 stars. Look out!
Oh God, he's still going.
It's definitely goodbye from Auto and good night from Auto, I think. DC, thank you for Mr. Pilot. Please, thank you for joining us this week. It's been an absolute pleasure for having you, and we will hope to have you again very soon when you can fit us into your busy schedule, flying around the country, jetting around in your own leisure. From myself, from Auto, from Stars, thank you very much, guys. We will see you next week.
Cheers! It's been fun.